everybody. My name is Nia Warren. I'm a freshman public relations student and theater minor from Oakland, California. Hey. I'm running for both director and assistant director of BSA because this environment right here is the closest I've ever felt to being looked at as an individual person instead of a walking minority on this campus. It's the very first thing I looked for when I started at USC, and it's a legacy that I want to give my all to by the time I graduate. What makes this assembly so special to me is its potential that it has for Black leadership, role models, discussion, and lots of boundary pushing. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And through this journey through college and self-discovery, we've all changed our minds on what major we wanted to pursue, what clubs we wanted to join, where we wanted to live, how we wanted to wear our hair, what classes we wanted to take. But one thing is always going to remain consistent for every single person in this room. From the minute you stepped onto this campus and to this assembly, you have been a role model, even if you haven't realized it. Somebody is going to look at you, see themselves in you, and you are going to be the reason that person decides to attend USC. My goal is also for that same person to look at you, be in awe of your accomplishments, and for you to be the reason that same student decides to attend their first BSA meeting. And when that person continues to watch you and other faces at USC without realizing it, they will become a role model for somebody else. What I want is for BSA to be centered around being a shared place where no matter how many things you've accomplished, you will always have something to look up to and something to look forward to. That comes with getting to know each other and making sure that the rest of USC gets to know us. Here's my ideas. How many of us have been sitting, chilling in class, minding our own business, and all of a sudden a teacher says something that's so ignorant and you're like, wait, what? And you look around and nobody seems to understand what just happened, and nobody acknowledges what seems to literally be all up in your face. As long as I'm a student at USC, I need teachers to empathize with the Black experience. So what I'm proposing is that it becomes a bi-yearly ritual to extend one official hand-delivered invitation to all of our teachers, asking them to come sit down with us at a BSA meeting and see us for more than a face or a jersey number. I was president of Students of Color Club at a Bay Area private international high school in the white upper-class city of Danville, California. And as the president of that club, because of my school's international standing, it was my job to represent not only African Americans, but Black Africans, and even Black Australians and Latinos. And by doing this in a school where many people had never even had a neighbor of color, I learned that unless we show people otherwise, they are probably gonna think that our experience and perspectives on life are all the same. We are not, but do they know that? Because whether they do or don't makes a difference in how we are treated as a community. So I want to make sure that we come up with creative ideas to change the outlook for not only teachers, but currently enrolled and applying students here at USC. So 2, this means putting a spin on the Trojan perspective on diversity at USC YouTube video, which I know impacts Black students' decisions to go here. It does a great job about talking about the hardships that I know we all experience at USC, but I believe that we need to start the video with introductions on how we see ourselves as individual people first. That includes what we like, our hobbies, what we're studying, and our hidden identities. We are impacted by microaggressions, exclusion, and racism on this campus, but we are not defined by it. In order for people to empathize with us, they need to see us as people first. That way, even after learning about what we deal with, a student may still choose to come to BSA and join USC because they saw themselves in that video in an authentic way. Third, I think we underestimate the power of Black USC's GroupMe. We not only talk about important political and social issues, but we talk about what makes us laugh, how we do our hair, what parties we're interested in, our day-to-day lives at USC. And as director of BSA, I want to not only learn about what we care about as a community from those GroupMes to affect change, but I want to make our discussion forums just as open and interesting as our GroupMe conversations. That way this assembly can be informative, reflective of the Black SC community, authentic, and fun, because that's everything that we are as a family, as a community, and as USC. Thank you.
Woohoo! So Nia, before you go, can you state which position or positions you're being considered for, you would like to be considered for?
Yeah, I'd like to be considered for director and assistant director.
Okay.
The executive board.
Are there any questions from the audience?
Yeah, I have a question. So I think something that was really strong in what you were speaking about was your plans for advocacy and really engaging Black students here. Do you have any plans specifically for like programs or fun kind of things that can be put on, or even educational programs, but specifically events, some of the signature events like that BSA puts on, or anything more than that?
Sure, yeah. One thing that I definitely got out of a panel that we had here was mentors. And I've also found mentors here just through the club. And I think that one of the first events we can have here, because it was definitely harder transitioning into USC as a spring admit and not knowing that many people but still wanting to be a part of BSA. I think it'd be a really great idea to have an event on one of our first meetings where we have people that are already really established in this club kind of have a panel of their own and then talk about what they've accomplished, what they've wanted to accomplish, and then reach out to people and say, like, kind of like a mentorship day and say, like, I want to adopt a mentor. I know, like, someone's already done that for me. And, like, make it a day where people can kind of click with somebody that they feel like they share something in common with that's already farther along than they are to guide them throughout the next 4 years. So kind of like a voluntary, like, mentorship day before we start off. That way they can at least know one person in the club and then feel more comfortable so we can have, like, more comfortable discussions.
Can you also state what your current class standing is?
Mm-hmm. I'm a freshman, spring admit, and I'm studying public relations.
Thanks. Any other questions from the audience?
God, it had to be in my face. I guess just being a freshman spring admit, how do you feel like that's going to impact your position, especially if you're going to be running as director and assistant director? Not saying that you can't do it, but just because there's kind of like a lot of ins and outs of USC that maybe you haven't already gotten to. What's your plan to combat that?
I think that running as a freshman kind of shows that I'm really hungry for, like, understanding USC and, like, taking an advocacy position. So I think that like, hunger is something that's going to drive me to really look at current leaders in this club to make sure I understand what's going on. And I've already talked to people about, like, wanting to dedicate, like, a lot of my summertime getting to talk to people that are involved in the club and understanding BSA to the fullest extent. My experience is that, like, I did this at my last school, my high school, and I was president of a club like this. And it was a lot harder because there wasn't as many African Americans, and so, like, I had to, like, recruit. Like, it was a constant, like, recruiting mission, but it really gave me a lot of experience in understanding how to, like, change, like, your plans when people don't show up or, like, when people aren't interested, how to, like, move forward. And so, like, yeah, I definitely want to talk to Aaliyah a lot and, like, everybody else who's been really involved, and then talk to people that, like, are going to be here next year too to talk about, like, what they want out of this club, because I know it changes every year. And I think it gives me, like, a new perspective, because I definitely am not set in old ways, because I don't know as many old ways yet, but I definitely